What if feeling like a fraud is more real than you think? Ever think your brain might be trying to spill some truth that everyone else is too nice to say? Imposter syndrome and real concerns. The difference between these two realities will change everything. Here is the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to admit. We live in a world where every professional insecurity gets labeled as imposter syndrome. You feel nervous in a new role? Imposter syndrome. You doubt yourself before a presentation? Imposter syndrome. You got promoted and feel overwhelmed? Obviously, imposter syndrome. But what if I told you that sometimes you are not experiencing a psychological syndrome at all? You are just genuinely unprepared for what you are trying to do. And calling it a syndrome is actually preventing you from fixing the real problem. I know this sounds harsh, but stay with me because understanding this distinction is going to save you years of confusion and wasted effort. The term imposter syndrome was coined back in 1978 by a psychologist named Pauline Clance. She was studying high-achieving women who, despite having objective evidence of their competence, could not internalize their success. They felt like frauds, even though they clearly were not. That is real imposter syndrome. But then something happened. The term became popular. Self-help books grabbed it. Social media ran with it. And suddenly, every feeling of inadequacy at work became imposter syndrome. We took a specific psychological pattern and turned it into a catch-all diagnosis for any professional discomfort. And here is why that matters. When you mislabel your situation, you apply the wrong solution. If you have true imposter syndrome, you need to work on self-perception and learn to internalize your accomplishments. But if you are actually underqualified, you need to develop real skills. Trying to therapy your way out of legitimate skill gaps is like trying to meditate your way through a broken leg. You can do all the mindfulness you want, but you still need to address the actual problem. Let me give you a real example. Imagine two software developers. Developer A has been coding for 12 years, has shipped multiple successful products. It's praised by colleagues, but still feels like someone is going to discover she does not know what she is doing. That is imposter syndrome. Developer B just got promoted to senior developer after 18 months in the field, constantly struggles to complete tasks, and feels like a fraud. Developer B might not have imposter syndrome at all. Developer B might just need more experience and training. Same feeling of being a fraud, completely different root causes, completely different solutions. And this is where most people get stuck. They read an article about imposter syndrome, recognize the feeling of inadequacy, and think they found their answer. But feelings are not diagnoses. You need to look deeper. You need to ask harder questions. Because here is what happens when you get this wrong. If you have real imposter syndrome and you do not address it, you sabotage yourself despite being capable. But if you are underqualified and you convince yourself it is just imposter syndrome, you stagnate. You stop developing because you think the problem is all in your head. Neither outcome is good, but only one of them is actually fixable with self-talk and therapy. So how do you know which one you are dealing with? What are the actual markers that separate genuine imposter syndrome from legitimate unpreparedness? The markers that reveal true imposter syndrome are actually pretty specific. And if you are honest with yourself, you will know which category you fall into within the next 2 minutes. Real imposter syndrome has 4 clear signatures, and they all point to the same core issue, which is a massive gap between your objective reality and your internal experience. First signature is this. You have concrete, undeniable evidence of your competence, but you refuse to believe it. And I do not mean you are just being humble. I mean you have results, you have recognition, you have a track record, and your brain still tells you it means nothing. Imagine a surgeon who has performed over 800 successful procedures, has patient testimonials, has awards from medical organizations, but still thinks she just got lucky every single time. That is the hallmark of imposter syndrome. The evidence contradicts the feeling so dramatically that it becomes irrational. If you do not have that kind of evidence, if people are not consistently recognizing your work, if you are not producing results, then what you are feeling might not be a syndrome at all. It might just be accurate self-assessment. Second signature is persistence across success. No matter what you achieve, the feeling never goes away. You complete a major project, the next one will expose you. You get promoted, now you're even more of a fraud at a higher level. The goalposts constantly move. You master one thing, and your brain immediately finds another reason why you do not belong. This is different from someone who feels insecure because they actually lack skills in a new situation. That person can reduce their anxiety by learning and improving. But someone with true imposter syndrome cannot learn their way out of the feeling because the feeling is not based on reality to begin with. Third signature, and this one is critical, you systematically attribute your success to external factors. You got the client because of timing. You won the award because the competition was weak. You got hired because they were desperate. You built a business that generates $500,000 in revenue per year, but you convince yourself it was just luck and market conditions. People with real imposter syndrome have this almost compulsive need to deflect credit away from themselves. They cannot internalize achievement. It is like their brain has a filter that blocks any evidence of personal competence. Compare this to someone who is actually underqualified. That person usually knows exactly why they succeeded in the few areas where they did well, and they also know exactly where they are struggling because the gaps are real and visible. Fourth signature is that the pattern shows up everywhere, even in areas where you are objectively an expert. The self-doubt follows you across contexts. You could be a recognized leader in your field, teaching others, writing books, and you still feel like an imposter. It is pervasive and disconnected from specific situations. But if your feeling of being a fraud only shows up in particular contexts, like that new role you just took or that skill you never properly learned, that is not a syndrome. That is situational awareness. Your brain is sending you accurate information. So now here's the question you are probably wondering. What if none of those four signatures really fit? What if your insecurity feels justified? What if you suspect you might actually be in over your head, but everyone keeps telling you it is just imposter syndrome? What are the signs that you are genuinely underqualified, and what do you do about it? The signs of being genuinely underqualified are different, and recognizing them is not about shame. It is about getting clear on what you actually need to work on. First major sign is this. When you strip away the pressure and the nerves and the anxiety, you still cannot execute the core functions of your role. And I do not mean you cannot do them perfectly. I mean you literally do not have the baseline skills to do them at an acceptable level. Here is a test. If someone gave you unlimited time, zero pressure, no one watching, could you complete the main tasks of your job? If the answer is yes, but you just get nervous, that might be imposter syndrome. If the answer is no, because you do not actually know how, that is a skill gap. A graphic designer who knows the software inside out but feels nervous presenting to clients? Probably imposter syndrome. A graphic designer who does not know how to use the industry standard tools? That is being underqualified. The difference is critical. Second sign is strategic avoidance. You have developed an entire system of avoiding situations where your lack of skill would be exposed. You always find reasons why someone else should present the technical parts. You volunteer for projects that hide your weak areas. You delegate the tasks you cannot do and tell yourself it is good leadership. But deep down, you know you are playing defense. You are managing your exposure rather than developing your competence. People with real imposter syndrome usually do not avoid challenges. Actually, they often overwork to prove themselves. But people who know they are unprepared instinctively dodge situations that would reveal the gap. If you find yourself constantly relieved when you do not have to demonstrate a certain skill, pay attention to that feeling. It is information. Third sign, the feedback you receive is consistent and specific. And this is important. It is not vague stuff like you do not fit the culture or we are looking for someone with more energy. It is concrete. Your code keeps getting rejected for the same structural problems. Your reports consistently miss key analytical components. Your presentations lack the depth that your peers provide. When multiple people over time are pointing to the same gaps, and those gaps are about deliverables, not about feelings, you need to listen. That is not the world being mean to you. That is the world giving you a roadmap for development. Real imposter syndrome involves feeling inadequate despite positive specific feedback. Being underqualified involves receiving negative specific feedback that points to actual performance issues. See the difference? Fourth sign is rapid advancement beyond your current capability. You were great at your previous role, so you got promoted. But the new role requires a completely different skill set that you have not developed yet. This is called the Peter Principle. People get promoted to their level of incompetence. And here's the thing. That does not make you a bad person or a fraud. It makes you someone who needs to catch up to their new position. A phenomenal individual contributor does not automatically have management skills. An excellent manager does not automatically have executive strategic thinking skills. These are different competencies. If you jumped levels without building the bridge skills, you are not experiencing a syndrome. You are experiencing a natural consequence of rapid progression, and that is fixable. Here is what you do. If you identified with the imposter syndrome markers, you need to work on internalizing your achievements. Keep evidence of your success. Talk to mentors who can give you perspective. Consider therapy if the pattern is deeply ingrained. But if you identified with the underqualified markers, you need a completely different approach. Do an honest skills audit. List what your role requires. Mark what you genuinely can do versus what you are faking. Pick the top 3 gaps and build a 90-day development plan. Take courses, find mentors, practice deliberately. And here is the liberating part. In 3 months of focused effort, you can transform your capability in a specific area. Being underqualified is temporary if you are willing to do the work. The bottom line is this: knowing the truth about your situation, even when it is uncomfortable, is the only way forward. If you have imposter syndrome, stop letting it steal your joy and start learning to own your competence. If you are underqualified, stop hiding behind a diagnosis and start building the skills that will make you actually qualified. Either way, you win, because clarity is power, and action based on truth always beats confusion based on mislabeling. If this video gave you that clarity, I would be honored to have you join this community. Hit subscribe, because we are creating a space where honest conversations lead to real growth. Drop a comment and tell me which one resonated with you. No judgment here, just people trying to get better. I will see you in the next video, and remember, the truth might be uncomfortable, but it is also the thing that sets you free to actually grow.